Richie. Hi, Ben. We've got another interesting topic, and this is one that hopefully you guys will be able to rant about for a little bit. I wanted to talk a little bit about agile snake oil salesman. So for those of you who don't know, a snake oil salesman is someone who has a miraculous cure that is the best way to solve any disease, but obviously is not really all that it lives up to be. So whether we talk about, business coaches who aggressively are marketing on Instagram who actually don't really have any answers, or there's these very funny get any girl kind of player manuals that are just trying to take money out of lonely people. I wonder if in Agile you've experienced any similar kind of fake profits or, certifications that, are essentially just kind of trying to grab cash or making promises they can't keep or making Agile out to be something it's not. So who'd like to kind of tell us their horror stories or their best examples of how to spot someone who's not all they say they are?
Well, I think looking at this old ad kind of gives you everything that you need to know. When people are talking about all the things that Agile can do to help you out, the strongest and best liniment for pain and lameness, for frostbites, chill. What does that say? Anyway,
chilblains.
What's a chilblain?
It's like where you get scarring from being cold, I think, like where it breaks the blood vessels.
Anyway, you get the idea. It's like this thing can be good for man and beast. It gives immediate relief.
You can spot someone who's selling you a scam if they promise you the world. If they promise it's going to solve every problem you've got.
Well, let's look at the certificate industry. Go spend 2 days in a room and then you get a new career. Mm-hmm. Are you Scrum Master certified? Have you spent 2 days listening to something? Oh, okay, good. I'll hire you with my multi-million-dollar project. Well done.
There's a general rule, which is if something's too good to be true, then it's too good to be true. You know what I mean?
Yep, I think so. I think as well, like it's easier to spot those people when obviously they're going to come in, they're very bullish about what they can achieve in the amount of time they can achieve it. And if you look at their history, they've probably only done one cycle or one term at every client they've been at. So they do the initial contract and then they walk away without having ever got anything to the finish line. I think that's another way of spotting them.
I think at this point, we've got a lot of diverse people with a lot of good intentions. And, it's not, you certainly have those people out there who know what they're doing, right? And we know who they are, we've seen them. But I think the nature of the industry is such that a lot of people with good intentions have become diluted because it's been this quick fix. It's been this, if only human beings weren't complex and people just listened to me and did things the right way, we'd get the result that you were looking for. So people blame the client and then they go to the next one and they go, oh, well, this client's going to be better. And the client says, yes, we will be better. And then they realize how difficult it is to change. Like change is painful. If you want to actually get a different result, you have to go through painful change. Nobody likes change. So I think that's a big part of where the snake oil aspect comes from, because it's this idea of just take this one easy thing and everything will be fine. And it's like, no, if you want things to be different in the world, you have to work.
So there's a level of kind of demand creating the supply there, right? So it's not just that people are selling snake oil, it's that to an extent you think some companies are kind of asking for snake oil and then that's what they get, right?
Yeah, exactly. We want something to solve all of our problems in one pill. Yeah, I've got one. I've got a pill. And we'll pay for it as well.
Yes, and people, it's like this magic formula, right? No, like it's going to solve all the problems and ready and quick. And also I think that Agile, so many people are they start to know what is Agile and is very common right now in the world. So maybe that's another thing that people would like to sell, and there are companies that want, okay, let's do Agile, let's do it, okay, oh, and this is going to solve our problems, let's do it right now. And maybe they don't stop to understand. I don't know if that person had any experience working with other clients, what were the results? I think that's a combination there that maybe would leverage this kind of people that would sell agile like that.
Yeah, and what you've just said, Lucci, made me think as well, like, and a derivative of that is where Agile's like so hyped and so popular that people just take the Agile badge and they stick it on something that isn't Agile whatsoever. So they just change themselves from a project manager into a Scrum Master or an Agile coach, or or I was, I'm I've been contracting as a program manager, and I'm now going to become an Agile consultant. Or we're going to run the same process, the same roles, the same things, but we're going to give them all different names under the Agile umbrella, and that's somehow going to make things better. So clearly, there's some holes in that plan.
Is that like hormone and antibiotic free versus like organic versus like certified organic?
You mean like so many terms to confuse the consumer?
Well, it's like, this is Agile, but how Agile is it? Like, which one? I think certified organic is the healthiest. And then there's like hormone and antibiotic free on the other end here. Like, people know that. And then there's, I don't know, other stuff. Like where they actually use real sugar and they don't use high fructose corn syrup. Like, what's the bell curve here? Yeah. I'm sorry, Eddie, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I want to, and I guess it kind of relates to what you're saying, right? Which is, you said that one of the best ways to find out how to get like the good people and how to find the real organic, so to say, would be to look at like these past experiences, right? And look at kind of what's tangible and the real track record. The question I have here is that, like, for us especially, right, we're on the side of Agile that would say we have to expand Agile to be kind of more human and more about culture building, right? But those kind of things are harder to like prove, in a sense, right? It can be harder to then do the things that are harder to write down on paper, harder to measure. Do these kind of snake oil salesmen make it harder for people who genuinely are working with less tangible stuff? Do bad agilists make it harder for you to say, move away from only working on things that you can prove on paper, that kind of thing? Have you found any difficulties with that, where if you are genuinely coming with a new approach, how do these kind of false prophets of new approaches make it difficult for you, and how do you separate yourself? And how would you say a company should see the difference between finding the good ones in this kind of stuff?
Well, that's bringing up our follow-on topic that we're going to do next week, which is the kind of bad significant other syndrome. Like, how much pain do the coaches who actually want to make real change have to absorb from the past, from the past failures of others, and that's certainly true. I mean, in some areas, anywhere you have someone trying to install a framework, right? So there's two things that I see there. There's someone trying to install a framework as is, and there's someone trying to wrap Agile around an existing process, something that exists, without trying to change it. And then they're basically putting sprinkling Agile fairy dust without actually incorporating real change. But certainly, I think one of the ways to look at it is the certificate industry. I'd like to say that I'm certified certificate free, and I'd like to remain that way.
You could be certified less intelligent.
You see these people with this string of letters after their names, right? Like CSM, POPM, SABD, WTF, your mom. And one leader at a gig that I was at had to actually curtail some of her coaches, and she said, "Listen, if your signature after your name on your email line breaks with all of these different letters, like it has to stay on one line. You can't have it line break. And you have like 14 of these certificates that represent probably about 4 to 6 weeks of your life. So real accomplishment there.
You need to worry that it doesn't look like you're overcompensating with these certificates, right? I think that's good for us for today. I think we all have enough rants and rambles to go on about some of the things we see from other Scrum Masters. And I mean, there's always going to be a bad side to every industry, but I think we did a good job going over some of the first ideas today. So thanks for your time. And as always, if you've got any stories to exchange about bad run-ins with snake oil salesmen or ridiculous shows or ridiculous claims that you've seen, then make sure to put them in the comments, and we'll see you again next week.